Today on the Skid Factory, we're stripping diffs, plating control arms, painting over dirt, and getting this thing one step closer to working on my own car. Welcome back to episode 618 of how to rebuild your 1972 model Torana. And that is how many episodes you'll need if you want to do it yourself. Today we're going to pull apart this big nugget of a 9-inch and do some archaeology and figure out what's in it, how much weld's been put into the centre, what sort of axles it's got, because they've probably been chopped in half and welded or something like that. So a lot of this stuff in the olden days, this was a better diff, of course, because it's big. That was really all they had going for them. But they didn't use the entire 9-inch assembly because usually they were out of massive F-trucks or tank fair lanes, like huge vehicles which were very wide. So what they would do is cut them off about here and then slip in bits of Holden and weld them on, and then from there outwards was Holden parts, which weren't that great. So
is that what this one is?
It probably is. It looks like it's got Holden axles in it, but they must have cut them down because it's pretty narrow. So it'll be interesting to see how they've gone about it. If it's junk, we'll have to get new axles for it, but we won't know until we pull it apart. So we're going to leave it in the car and pull all the axles and everything out, and then the centre, it's just a bit easier to work on it when it's anchored into a vehicle than sticking it on the ground sometimes. So we'll start with that, pull it apart, see what we find, and then we'll pull the housing itself out and clean it up and put some new bushes in it and that sort of thing. And we've got some adjustable upper control arms to it to set the pinion angle to the correct height and to centre it properly. Sometimes I think they plate in these arms, but...
What's a chassis kit? There's so many comments about chassis kits.
That's linking the front to the rear along here. It's sort of a cut-out piece that goes from right up to the front to the back. Apparently it's a thing, but to be honest, this is a much better built car than a Kingswood. So
was it a thing for...
Maybe if they've got like a bloody 454 in them or something, I don't know. But to me it looks like a more structurally sound vehicle than a Kingswood that isn't a tonner, and probably still better than a tonner. But who knows? It's also 48 years old, so again, who knows? We'll use our good judgment and see what happens. 1JZ makes good power, but it doesn't make like ridiculous torque from cracking the throttle like a big block or something like that would. So they're quite a smooth engine that delivers power in a very smooth metered fashion, and they're quite gentle on rear ends and stuff like that for that reason. No trans brake, of course. If you put a trans brake on any engine and use it, you will find things breaking off that never did before. It's like the ultimate clutch dumping thing going on. So obviously we're not going to trans brake it because you can't, as far as I'm aware, trans brake an A340. If you could, but Golby would have done it, so I'm guessing that you can't.
I think you can do some like I don't know, lock it in like
electronic lock,
overdrive or something, and then like
yeah,
back to first just to be able to boost. But
yeah, which is still not a trans brake. So yeah, let's get pulling apart.
Wow.
Another few here. Remember that time that David undid 3.5 bolts and then tried to slide him of this shit out for hours? Didn't work real well.
What's the thoughts, Alan?
Don't know.
Get counting splines?
Might be 28 spline. Got LJ written on it, so clearly made for this vehicle. I was looking for badly chopped up or even cut in half and welded back together Holden axles, which they don't appear to be. Doesn't work very well, but people still did it.
So what's the verdict? That one's different again.
Yeah. Who knows? They would have maybe just used some factory Borg-Warner axle, 28 spline Borg-Warner axle or something. It's got 1/2-inch studs in it, so that says it's not Commodore, but they could have knocked out the Commodore studs and milled them across that 1/2 millimetre or whatever, and then put these in. Because yeah, that's a lot nicer axle than a old Holden ever had in it. It might be a mystery, but I'm happy to go with them. They look alright.
What's that?
You hear that?
No?
That's the mini spool. Y'all want some?
Weird. Something doesn't look quite right about it. Something doesn't look quite right about it.
Is the fact there's no fill and drain plugs on it?
No fill or drain plugs. I guess that's a thing, but I don't know.
Is it possible that it's not a 9-inch?
I suppose. Could be something else. Who knows? We'll find out soon.
Big chunks of teeth.
Nah, it's not Dave's diff. Pulling it all apart, checking it out. Pretty sure they probably cut down like 28 spline later model Commodore, like 90s Commodore axles. That I'm guessing they've been restudded, but they could also be really old Holden 1-tonner. They had 28 splines as well, but they look okay. We'll just leave them for the moment. If Lee wrecks them, then so be it. They can be fixed later. This is a 3.5 to 1, 35 to 10 gear. It isn't welded up, so that's good. If it was welded center, I probably would have replaced it with something, but it's actually got a mini spool in it, which is basically you take out all the sun gears and replace it with a small, this is not as easy to describe as you'd think. Basically the same shape as the sun gear housing, but it's just got two splines and it's complete. So it basically joins the two axles together. There's no differential effect, and then the pin goes through it, the pinion for what used to be the sun gear pinion. So that's okay. I think it'll probably be fine with this setup. It's not a big horsepower arrangement, so it should be sweet. I've got on to Duncan at Hopper Stoppers, giving him some dimensions off the diff flanges and stuff like that. He said, yeah, that's Holden. We'll have a squiz and see what we can come up with. Problem, there's no drain or fill plug. No drain plug is not uncommon for a 9-inch, but no fill plug is kind of weird. I guess this is probably a front diff out of like a 4-drive or something like that that has it in the housing. Usually they've got something tapped into here. There would be a fill point, like a 3/8 BSP or NPT, but it's not there. So we will clean this up and add both, so you can change it. Like you could see initially the oil looked nice and clean, but when you dug down inside where the 8-ball was living, it was just disgusting metal filled oil. So not having a drain plug is a terrible idea. So we'll just add them. I usually use oxygen sensor bungs because I've got them lying around, and they've got a cap, and they're much harder to mess up than tapered bungs, because idiots do things that are tapered up too tight. So they can't do that with the 18 by 1.5, so we'll use those on it. Just probably have to go and probably see Oldcock and figure out where the height is, unless I can find it on the internet. Not that it's super critical, but...
Oh, look at Oldcock's diff.
Yeah, I prefer to get it in the right place than have too much oil in there, or not enough. So we'll get that done. We'll clean these up. Probably just check the mesh of the gears, but Lee had no complaints, so he probably couldn't hear it anyway because of all the rattly 308 noises and straight through exhaust slapping thongs all over the place. But he'll probably be able to hear it with this engine because it won't be too loud. So we'll check that as well, make sure it's okay. Get some bushes, get some brakes, paint her up, put it all back together. But in the meantime, I'll have to do some other work because that'll take a few days, I guess, to get that stuff. Your shout for lunch. While we're under here, we've scoped out the transmission cooler location. We've fitted it in the seat relief, I'd call it. So where you're sitting, they've curved the floor up inside there because it doesn't need to be. It's a void spot except for, you know, Macca's packets and beer bottles. So I guess they do that to give the floor a shape so it's a bit stronger, but also things like mufflers and stuff like that, or something. But it gives us a convenient spot. We've got a PWR oil cooler with a SPAL fan on it. It's all built into it. It's a pull fan, so we mount the fan up the top. These come from Golby's. There's a couple of different sizes at least. I think the next one's about this big, but we just went for the big one because bigger the better really with an oil cooler. Every automatic transmission should have an oil cooler. I mean, in our world anyway, as far as performance stuff goes. From factory, they're usually just plumbed into the bottom of the radiator, which is adequate for a factory vehicle with a low stall converter. But as soon as you're putting power through them, particularly with a converter that's got a higher stall speed, heat is the byproduct of the higher stall speed, so that's got to be dissipated. So a decent transmission cooler is a requirement. It will make your gearbox last a lot longer for a start. Yeah, we shouldn't really be putting it under the floor, but when you've got a tiny little car like this that's just got no room for anything, this is where they end up. And it's pretty common for drag cars to have them under the floor like this. I can hear the maniacal squealing in the comments section about this getting hit by something. Yeah, it could get hit by something. So could every other part of the car, the sump, the transmission pan, the tyres, the radiator, the intercooler. Everything can get hit by something. You gotta use a little bit of practicality with things, and everything is a compromise. If you don't have compromise in your life, you're probably going to be very unhappy and most likely an asshole as well. So be prepared to compromise when you're building cars and also everything else in your life. So here we are. There it is. The guy that owns the car is responsible for not smashing something into that. That's all there is to it. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah. Here comes that annoying Aussie YouTuber guy complaining again.
I'm not complaining, I'm telling you how it is.
With Mark's Fairlane, we put a duct on it.
We made an elaborate setup with a duct so it didn't have a fan.
But all it did
and all that does is collect shit. It had so much junk in it, like track junk from being at chunks of other people's tyres and leaves and cats and budgies, all sorts of stuff was stuck in there. Yeah. So we actually replaced it. I think we did that on the show, didn't we?
Okay.
When we did when we did the engine refresh, we replaced it with one of these. So
wasn't it my cooler to begin with?
No, don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Recycle, reuse.
This works well.
Compromise.
Compromise. Be prepared. So
Now,
Woody's
now
on.
Alan's going to make a nice bracket.
Woody's on bracket duties because traditionally that's his job when it comes to mounting transcoolers, and I'm going to go with that because it suits me. So get making brackets.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to tell you you've done it wrong.
Rubber isolators have been mounted to the end of the brackets to minimise noise transferring through the floor and also account for heat expansion and save the cooler from cracking.
working our way through the rear end overhaul, I guess it is. More of a check over really. Found out there's no drain or fill bungs anywhere in the diff, so I'm not sure how they filled it up before, but well done whoever did it. So I've added a couple there, just TIG welded some M18 O2 sensor bungs in there because I've got them. I think we talked about.
You said that before, yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
So that's all good. The control arms, they're the lower control arms. I've just made a sort of a reinforcement plate. This is pretty common. These arms, although making an arm like this is a good design, probably leaving it open at the bottom does leave a lot of twist available in it.
Especially that they're so long too.
And they're really long as well, yeah. Certainly wouldn't have made any difference with most of these cars had like 50 horsepower 6-cylinders in them, so it didn't matter. But in this case, it is going to make a difference. So this plate is just basically a piece of 1.6 plate with some dimple dies in it that gives it the strength, so you're not welding a very large, heavy piece on there that is also heavier gauge than this. So we're trying to match the gauge a bit. That will stop twist that way. The arm is strong in every other direction except for twist. So pretty simple stuff. Just sort of kind of made it just because we wanted to use our dimple dies and hole cutters and stuff because they're cool.
I reckon you could have put more dimple dies in there.
I could have, but I was just sort of, I don't know. It is what it is.
I would have.
You can actually buy these patch plates. I think Tough Mount sells them for various control arms like Commodore arms and these things as well. They're cheap as because it's only a piece of steel with some holes in it.
They're commonly used for like roll cages and stuff too.
Yeah, this sort of technique's used on roll cage corners and that sort of thing as well, just to add strength. So the top arms are going to be replaced altogether with some aftermarket like adjustable arms so we can change our pinion angle. So we're not going to do anything with the top, but you could do the same thing to the top arm if you wanted to. It's good to go. That's going to get some black paint as well. So is the diff housing. The diff, we're okay with the diff. It's got bits in it that are acceptable. It's all pretty much Ford standard with it, just with a mini spool, but that's okay. It's not a crazy powerful car. Well, it won't be, so this should do fine. What we've just done is just check the like the mesh of the gears, just for our own satisfaction or for just to make sure they're all right. I expected it to be to be okay, but it actually wasn't. You can't see anything now because it's all covered in schmutz and stuff, but basically it was running off the top of the drive side and the bottom of the coast. So you can just Google it, it'll come up and there'll be cheat sheets that show you the different patterns and how to fix it. The beauty of the 9-inch is that it's easy to change things like that. So it's basically saying remove a shim or push the pinion in further and that should correct it. So we popped this front housing cover off, pulled out a shim, it's only got one so we didn't have much to play with, and just put it back in again and then rechecked it. So it could have gone the other way, it could have been too far in then, but we got lucky and it's actually corrected the pattern, it's all good. So no shims at all. It's very dynamic, the whole diff thing, so you're moving things around and it's just changing things all the time, so you've got to be sort of a bit meticulous about it and just change one thing at a time, recheck it, that sort of thing. So we're happy with it now. This sort of ease of fixing things you won't get in a Salisbury type diff like a 8.8 in American language or a Commodore Borg Warner diff. It's much harder to change. Like changing that pinion depth is really difficult. Whereas in this, you just undo those 5 bolts and pop that out and put a shim in or take one out. It's really easy. So that's my theory or my take on the popularity of the 9-inch is not particularly because it was ever the best diff in the world as far as strength goes, like these old 60s 9-inch, they're not very strong, like not in the applications that we use them in today. As Dave knows, you'll snap everything in it if you leave it standard. Pinions, it's old. So it's more the way they've designed it makes it easy to work on, makes it easy to make changes.
Also, backlash adjustment with the caps.
Just everything about it is easy to make adjustments and set up, so you can change gears really fast. It's just a good design in that respect. Don't expect this sort of diff to handle big power though. It'll have to be this diff in a completely aftermarket application. Like the whole thing nothing will be out of a Ford because none of that stuff is really.
Apart from the cast iron.
No, not even that.
Oh really? Everyone changes then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes, good thing. Obviously, that's why they're used.
We went into this with the Kingswood video episode. Don't know what episode it is. I'll link the video though.
Yeah. So that was what we call a Salisbury type diff.
The Harrop centre.
And yeah, it was really time consuming. They spent heaps of time getting it right because it's a strip down and reassemble every time you want to change that pinion depth, which has a lot of variance in what happens with the mesh. So, and also moving this back and forward isn't a matter of undoing those things and going all that way. You've got to pull shims out and swap sides and spread it and all this stuff. So they're a real pain in that regard. Some people, well, I guess the theory behind the design of that is you've got this giant steel member and that makes it stronger. So, but these things seem to do the job, and it's in the car already, so it's staying. Now we've got that sorted, we're going to bolt it all up with a new gasket and just paint the whole lot, put some bushes in, and when the paint's dry, we'll refit it. We'll put the bushes in after the paint dries as well. So let's do that.
I think this is the first time I've seen you use a gasket instead of Toyota black on something.
I'm just trying it out because these housings are always rotten and rusty and stuff, and the ceiling surface is junk, so just giving it a go. It'll still leak. It's like a 308 or a Turbo 400 or
Power Glide.
anything old.
You.
Paint over diff bushes or diff bushes after paint?
I reckon whack them in and then we'll paint over them.
Yeah, because if they want to fall out, we can at least weld them in now.
That's a normal thing, isn't it? Don't you tack them?
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to have to, but
Oh.
yeah. I wonder if this even exists anymore.
I wonder if the person watching this will be like, hey, that's old Billy Bob from Milton Performance.
Probably.
While the paint is drying on the diff and control arms, Al grabs some Raceworks -6 Teflon fittings to make up some lines for the transmission cooler. Ballet.
I'm just sitting here waiting for the paint to dry. Could take a while. A few more drips to drop on the ground first, and then the drying process can start. When that's happened, we will fit the diff back in the car as it is. Still waiting for, or not still waiting for it, I just ordered a hopper stoppers rear brake kit for it. We had to actually find out what sort of axle ends and stuff it had on it first before we ordered the product, because it could have been anything. You never know with cars of this age and with like conversions done on them. So we're getting that sent up. Once we get those, we'll fit those, pop the axles back in, and then start making brake lines for front and rear. Depending on when they get here, we might also start on the fuel system because we've got all our gear from Raceworks for that. Got a new fuel tank, we've got a pump, so got a few options for next week. So we'll get onto that. Depends on what we feel like, I suppose. Got that cooler in under the car. I'll give Lee the, what do they call it?
A waiver. Make him sign a waiver.
Yeah, make him sign a waiver that if he smashes it on something, it's his fault. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. For sure.
Does that sound fair to you, Lee?
Fair enough.
Fair enough? How come you've always got shit on your knees?
You just want to show my pants, don't you?
I thought it was your day off today.
It is. It's my week off.
So what are you doing here?
I had to start LS1 that Alan needed to fix for me.
Did you fix it, Alan?
Something wrong with my temp gauge. It says hot.
That's what happens when you drive.
Have you been driving up the beach in your LS1? Yes. Is it overheating? No. Have a look at the... Have you got extractors? Yes. Have a look at the temp sensor on the front of the head. It's probably melted. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, it is melted. There's your problem. Phone diagnostics. Anyway, we're good. We're getting there. Feeling a bit more positive about it now that we've done a bit of work. Lee's going to take us to Sushiyama for lunch now, so I'm stoked. Karaage. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Hang on, I can't see it. Don't hit the paint tin too hard.
Your shout for lunch.
Yo shout.
It's
No.
100% you.
Who shouted last time?
Lee.
And before that?
Me.
Me. I got video proof.
Yeah, but I paid for all the stuff from the...
Yeah,
That was like 2 weeks ago, you chutch.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, look. Oh, I'm just writing everything down. Just taking note. Just so I can get out of my shout. Don't ever have a beer with Woody, lads.
Whatever. I am the most...
He's the one who'll be in the dunny when it's his shout.
I am the most generous guy out, bro.
It's tubular. Tubes are strong. That's the best thing about AN fittings. They're so easy to put on in a hard to get place.
You know what they say about people with small hands?
They've got folds on the back of their neck.
Usually they've got grey hairs.
You got
too.
like a bum on your neck.
You extra zooming over here.
What'd you say? What did you say, Lee?
What's going on with his legs?
No one knows. Actually, the guy in the comment section knows. It's called flamingitis, where your kneecap's on the back of your leg instead of on the front. He slept on your back.